Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm going to demonstrate how to make this tote bag. Now what this tote bag has that's so different from others that I've made is it has an insider divider pocket. So that's what the inside zipper pocket divider looks like. Now if you're interested in also adding to your tote bag, I have a link to an inside zipper pocket that is attached to the lining. So that will be in the description section below your YouTube screen. You just scroll down, click on Show More or the down arrow, and you'll see all kinds of links appearing. Your supplies are also listed below, along with the sizes of the pieces of fabric that you need to cut out. Okay, let's get started. Here are some suggestions on how to lay your fabric out to cut it in the correct pieces. So for fabric A, which is the top portion of the bag, you're going to leave your fabric folded with the selvage edges together. Always cut this edge straight, and I like using a rotary cutter and rotary cutting ruler on top of a large cutting mat. So after you cut this edge straight, go over 7.5 inches and cut. Then take this piece, cut the selvages off, and then cut it 14.5 inches long. Suggestions on your fabric B, there's more fabric being used in that particular color. So again, leave your fabric folded together with selvage edges, straighten this edge out, move over 7.5 inches and cut. Leave your fabric where it is. Move over 3 inches and cut, and do that 2 more times. Then take this piece and cut the selvage edges off, and then move over this way 14.5 inches and cut. And then for your lining, you want to leave the lining also folded with selvage edges together. Cut this straight, go over 14.25 inches and cut, then go over 9.5 inches and cut. On this piece, cut the selvage edges off, actually on both pieces, then move up this way 14.5 inches and cut, and up this way 9.5 inches and cut. Take your fabric A and B pieces and bring front sides together, and then stitch 1/4 inch seam along here. Then go to your ironing board and press, and then unfold this, and then press the seam towards the B fabric, the dark fabric here. And then of course you do the same thing with the other 2 pieces of fabric A and B. You can use any fusible fleece that you have or what's available to you. The one I'm using I purchased at Walmart, but not all Walmart stores have Fabric and Crafts. This is Heat and Bond fusible fleece. Your fusible fleece, on one side it's very, very rough, so that's the glue side. Then the other side is very smooth. So you want to take a ruler and help you draw a 2-inch square at one end of the fleece. So you lay it here, draw a line around it, then take scissors and cut it out. And you do that on both corners, on both pieces of your fleece. On your sections for the front and back, down on the B fabric, you're going to do the same thing. Cut a 2-inch square out of the 2 lower bottom corners on both sections of A and B. Now fuse the fleece on the back of your A and B fabric. And you'll notice that there is 1/4 inch on each side that is exposed of your front fabric. I cut the fleece shorter because it makes the seams less bulky. So go ahead and fuse it on following package instructions. It's a very simple process. Now take your 2 3-inch wide strips of fabric B, and we're going to create the straps. First, you want to determine how long you want your straps. So you may want to pin it to your outside fabric of the bag and hold it up over your shoulder. So if you need to adjust the length, that's the best time to do it. And then cut any off that you do not need. Once you've done that, fold your ends over at each end and then fold it in half and then press. So you're pressing on each step along the way. After you've done that, take the 2 outer edges, bring it towards that center fold line and press, and then fold in half and press again. Then stitch along each side close to the edge. Now you want to find the center up here at the top. So just fold it in half and put a pin there to mark the center. Then you're going to go over 3 inches from the center and then place the bottom of the strap 2.5 inches down. Now just pin them on, and then for the other one you again go over 3 inches, 2.5 inches down, and pin it on. So after you have it pinned on, then you want to stitch about 1 inch of the bottom of the strap, and you're going to go down along the bottom, the side, over and back down. Then go from corner to corner. And you do that on both ends of the strap, and then of course do it on the other side of your tote bag. Now your 2 pieces of the outside of the bag should look like this. Now you're going to bring them front sides together and line up the edges. Then pin your edges along this side and then the bottom edge. Then stitch a 1/4 inch seam. At each of the bottom corners, you're going to stitch it in the following manner. So pull it open like this, and then line up your seams with one seam going in one direction and the other seam going in the other direction. It's going to be a lot easier to stitch it that way. Then go ahead and place pins across this edge. Then stitch a 1/4 inch seam. And then this is what it looks like when you're done. And then turn the bag front side out. This is what the bottom of the bag should look like, and here it is from a front view, and then this is what it looks like along the side. Take your 2 pieces of fabric that are for the inside pocket divider, and along the 11-inch edges on both pieces, you're going to either use a serger machine to finish the edge off. If you don't have a serger machine, on your sewing machine, if it's a computerized machine, you probably have an overcast stitch. So this is what an overcast stitch would look like. If you don't have an overcast stitch, then use a zigzag stitch along the edge. After finishing the edge, then fold it over 1/4 inch and press it with your iron. I'm using a zipper that's really longer than what I need. This way I can customize my opening to my specific needs. So to hold the zipper teeth together down here, because I've cut some of the zipper off, it was so long, I did a back stitch back and forth a few times to hold the zipper teeth together. And right now you're going to leave your zipper pull out here so that it's not in your way. Then take the folded edge of your fabric and put it down against the zipper and place it along the edge here, and then pin it and then stitch along the folded edge of both of the fabric pieces. Then take your zipper pull and open up the zipper a little bit. Now bring front sides of your fabric together and pin along this edge and stitch a 1/4 inch seam. Now you're going to cut the excess zipper off at each end. So I'm using an old rotary cutter blade. Don't use a new one, or you can use old scissors. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off at both ends. Now turn it front side out. Take your two lining pieces and bring them front sides together. And you're going to cut a square out of the bottom just like you did on the other fabrics. Then after you cut the squares out, 2-inch squares, then stitch a 1/4 inch seam along this edge. Open up your two pieces of fabric for the lining. Take your pocket divider, and here's my zipper. It's going to be going up near the top area. Now you'll notice it's a little narrower. It's supposed to be that way. So center it and place it maybe a 1/2 inch from the bottom corners down here, and then move it over to one side. Close the other piece of lining fabric over it. Place pins along this edge and then stitch a 1/4 inch wide seam. Now open the lining back up again, take a hold of your pocket and pull it straight over to this edge, making sure it's the same distance across there. Then close it over, pin and stitch along this edge. Then stitch the two lower corners just like you did on the fabric for the outside of the bag. Now take your lining piece and insert it inside of the bag, and then line up your side seams and the edges up at the top. Place pins to hold the lining together up at the top of the bag. Then you're going to do just a basting stitch up close to the edge all the way around to hold it in place. Take your last strip of your B fabric that's 3 inches wide, fold it in half and press it all the way down. You're going to place this binding strip on the inside of the bag at the top edge. So this is the raw edge right here of my strip, and I'm going to pin it up at the very top edge. I'm going to start pinning it at one of the side seams and have it about a 1/2 inch out past that side seam. Then continue pinning it all the way around the top edge of the bag. When you come back around to where you started pinning, here is the side seam. So I'm going to bring my fabric across and go past a 1/2 inch on this side, past that side seam, and cut the excess fabric off. Then remove some of your pins, because this next step will be easier to do if you do that. Unfold the ends of the binding like this, as soon as I can get it apart. And now kind of fold your bag a little bit and bring the two ends together. Line them up, pin and stitch a 1/2 inch wide seam. Then finger press your seam open and then fold it back in half and finish pinning it up around that edge. Then stitch a 1/4 inch wide seam all the way around the top edge. Fold your edges out like this and press the top edge. Then after you've pressed, fold it over to the front and pin it down. So after folding the binding over to the front side, make sure you pin it down, and then you're going to stitch close to the folded edge of the binding all the way around. Now this is what it looks like on the outside of the bag, and again this is the box bottom, and this is the inside of the bag, and here is your zipper pocket divider. And don't forget about checking out that link to the inside zipper pocket. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you learned something new. If you're interested in other types of tote bags that you can make sure you check below your YouTube screen for those video links. I'll also have a link to all of my sewing tips of the week. So for those of you who are trying to learn how to sew, you just got to check those out. They're very, very informative. Now, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.